Welcome to Healthy Point of View Podcast, where we explore the latest trends and topics in health and wellness. Whether you're looking for tips on nutrition, fitness, mental health, or anything in between, we've got you covered. Join us as we chat with experts, share stories, and learn how to live a healthier and happier life.
Welcome, everyone. You have here Sam Tejada, your host of A Healthy Point of View Podcast. In today's episode, we have two digital gurus, and what we're going to be talking about is marketing in this digital world that we live in. Today, we have from the Liquivida team, one of our marketing gurus, Dario El Gato, right? He is visiting us here from Colombia, Bogota, right?
That's right.
Awesome. And then we have Chris from MediaTwist, a.k.a. the Captain, who's visiting us also. And we're doing some like mastermind strategy stuff on marketing. Guys, welcome. I appreciate you guys being here.
We finally made it to the spaceship, Sam. Here we are.
The spaceship.
This is well more than what I thought it was in my head. This is amazing.
We're trying, man. We're trying to have like what you have over there in PA.
Know.
You know, we're not there yet. I'm going to learn from you, though.
I don't know. I don't have this neat. We got neat firefighter suits in the corner. Backdraft.
Hey, never know. You might have to put the fire out. You know, so you never know what the deal is.
Thank you for the invite. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So you guys today had the opportunity for the first time to actually experience part of the Vita journey. So, Dario, we'll start off with you because you've been part of Liquivida longer than most of the people that actually work for Liquivida. I mean, you helped us start the company from back in like 2014 to 2015, give or take. And today being your first time actually being in a Liquivida Wellness Center, how was it versus what you've always seen working behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a journey. It's a totally different journey now. I was talking to you earlier today. And seeing that through your own eyes and feeling it in your body, it's like totally different. Like one thing is working remotely. Something totally different is feeling the effects. You know, it's like you lack words to express that. And there is only so much that video can do or a good copy can do is like the feeling, like finding a way to transmit that feeling throughout the different audiences and all of that. That's the part that's gonna stick with me. Like, how do I find a way and a medium and a platform and something to transmit that so people can actually get a better understanding, especially if they haven't done it before.
Absolutely.
Because once you do it, it's like, okay, now I see it. Now I see the value. Now I feel
the value.
Yeah. So it's totally different.
What about you, Chris? How did you feel?
Not to echo what Dario said, but feeling is everything for me. I'm a skeptic. I'm a marketer at heart, a warrior, right? We can tend to make anything kind of sound great, but when you go through the experience and feel it, from the moment I walked in there, and that being a branding guy, right? And then you're gonna put this stuff in my body,
right?
And it starts to get real. And I'm a data guy. We're built on data. We're big into analytics.
Oh, we're going deep
numbers.
on the data in a little bit.
And so that's the part where it started to get real for me, was the data that.
And I noticed it because I saw, just based off of your facial expressions as you guys were going through it, I saw that you guys were like taking it in, right? So, you know, part of that, so you guys did the PEMF, the pulse electromagnetic therapy, sitting in the chairs.
Wow, yeah.
And then you guys also did the different body composition analysis between the in-body and also the DEXA scan to kind of see how your body's made up of, you know, fat, visceral fat, you know, the muscles, all of that good stuff. And you also did the IVs. So my question here is, how do you feel being a marketer where you're working behind the scenes and you're hearing about all this stuff and you're talking with the doctors and you're producing stuff, everything from webinars, from videos that are getting edited to all of the actual marketing collateral. Now that you're actually going through that process, how do you feel? What's in your mind? I want to kind of like get that out of you of like, do you think now you're going to actually be able to take things a step above, like to the next level, because you've actually experienced it?
For me, the testimonial is everything, right? And that's what you try to pull out of any good service or product that you're gonna. How are you gonna affect the person's life? How are you gonna change the life? We were able to market this well before going through it,
right?
what the one thing that speaks volumes to me today is, and I'm a big brand guy, you know, you have your top of awareness branding stuff and everything's got to be on brand and the lookbook and so forth. But the things that spoke volumes to me today was, how do we get the camera? And you guys are already doing it, Melanie, Ricardo, the team. You're already getting, if you can, it's the customer testimonial program we built at Mercedes-Benz. It's the moment you put Miss Johnson in the G-Wagon, she's the happiest. Get the camera in front of her and feel that, and just
Capture that moment.
Capture that moment. And for me, as that content junkie and marketer, agency owner, capturing that moment, and then now I'm the one in the seat riding through it. I'm the consumer. It was real for me, and I realized that literally, if we can, I think the marketing, it's simple in this one. This is an easy case, guys. The marketing in this one would be, let the customer at the point of experiencing that, whether it's the drip, the data in the DEXA scan. When I saw that, when you came over to me, when I saw the visceral fat levels that the machine will show you and where it's at,
Right.
and you relate it to, you know, after this is for your kids, you know, and you see that data. If you can get that's how you market it, and that's what you're doing right now. You're doing a very good job of that, of marketing that test. For us, it's the same thing.
So for the listeners, let's go in on that, because I know what you're talking about. So part of that is, like, you know, visceral fat, right? Visceral fat lines the organs. It's the fat that lines your organs, and if you have a high percentage of that, that could be indicative of cardiovascular disease and all kinds of other chronic illnesses that you'll have.
Yeah.
Which, when you have those type of chronic illnesses, your chances of having a heart attack or having some kind of sudden cardiac arrest or something like that could happen, right? So, you know, one of the things I brought up to you is, hey, take a look at this number. You got to always keep this one within the optimal ranges. If not, hey, your kids might not have you there to see them walk across the stage one day.
Yeah, that
right?
hit me. That was the feedback loop, and I'm a feedback loop guy. You know, when I'm doing 40 through the school zone 25, and that thing shows me, I slow down for 3. And today, man, oh man, did that feedback loop hit me. I mean, today, just at lunch, I'm eating the Caesar salad already.
Same here.
Yeah, like, you had a little veggies and stuff. I prepared. I had the team prepared. So Dario, on your end, would you say that going through that process as a marketer and experiencing what we do as a business is an important part for a marketer to actually do in most cases, so they could actually perform their job at the best?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one thing is telling someone, hey, sell this car. Another totally different experience is sell this car after you've driven the car.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's totally different. You know, you could be driving a BMW and see it on the outside, but if you're in the inside, it's like, okay, you know, it feels better. You know, it has like more acceleration. Maybe it's more comfortable, less. Is it like well insulated? Does it have like a lot of light? A little bit lacking, all that stuff. And that gives you more ideas. It gives you more context. And it allows you to think in other ways to tell those different stories. So for me personally, it was all about that that journey and that change of mindset, because it's like, well, most of you can see me right now, some may, but I'm a skinny guy, and I was like proud of that to some extent, because I was, you know, I can eat whatever, and I'll always be like this, and this is like better than, you know, the opposite.
Right.
But then after going through the whole thing and looking at the data, I was like, oh, this only tells me part of the story.
Part of the story.
You know, there is a lot more of context there, and a lot more data that I need to take a look at.
Yeah.
You know, when they were telling me that I needed to have a goal for my calorie intake and all of that, and it's like, if you want to reach this goal, you're going to have to take this number into account and figure out if you want to go like above that or below
That's
that.
awesome.
But it's like, you know, finding that balance, it's something that will, it's like a wake up call right now.
Yeah.
As like, hey, you're still like halfway there in your life, whatever. And here is what
Yes,
all those
it's
decisions
exactly the wake-up
ended up
call.
leading to. So it's like, now what are you going to do with that data, which is essential for a marketer?
yeah,
You
man.
know, it's like, you have the data,
yeah.
but you have to do something with it. just collecting all of it and not doing anything and not making decisions,
Yeah.
even if they are personal or business, is like, then what's the point?
And that one word that you're using is just going to help me right now transition to the next thing we're going to talk about, and it's data, right? We're talking about data on your own self, your body composition analysis, your blood work, all of that stuff, how important that is to take yourself to the next level, right? Now, when we're talking about data, there's something that I heard a long time ago. In God we trust, everybody else, you got to produce data. I don't care. That's it, right?
That's right.
So data,
I like
data,
that
data.
saying, Sam.
So in marketing, in digital marketing, data is everything. And we're sitting here with two marketing gurus, right? And you guys have been working together on a lot of different projects when it comes to like social media marketing, the different traffic that's coming online, SEO, all of that stuff. So let's talk about data and the importance, because a lot of people always get focused on a lot of the vanity stuff. All right, we need to get content, doing this, and we got to get featured here. And that's great. You need it. That's a very important part. And I want the doctors that are listening to this podcast, a lot of the doctors that purchase our IV kits, to understand that, yes, they have to produce content. That's the first step. But then there's an important part of when you're utilizing that content, you have to manage the data so you could scale based off of the data you have. So, Chris, I'll let you start off because I know you're a crazy data guy. You produce more data than what I can read. So I want you to kind of tap in for the doctors or anyone else who's listening, who's trying to grow their business, of why is data so important and how you and Dario work together to always produce quantifiable data to take our business to the next level.
Sure. Thank you, Sam. So it's real simple from an aerial view. If you architect it and keep it real short and simple for the CEO mind at 40,000 feet, when it comes to marketing, it used to be all marketing was hocus pocus. We talked earlier, marketing is that thing as a business owner, you can maybe turn it off and you'll still be fine a few months into it. When you get to a level of using data that shows you the cost per lead, and then you can start doing ROI calcs on it and do metrics like return on ad spend and actually bring back an ROI calc, you then realize that if you can fix the business and get them the trust in the marketing as not being hocus pocus, but if they do the right trackable things based around, like what you just said, everybody but God, right? Everyone else needs data.
Right.
I love that. And that truly is, if I'm not tracking the data, when I go into a company, just like I said to you when I first met you, what are you spending on marketing? And you get the answer from the CEO. And what if you're a good business coach, what you should get the company to is 7 to 14% of their overall gross. You should want to spend on your marketing. Put it back into the company. But some companies, you say that number to, even 7% of your overall growth should be put back into your marketing machine. And then they run through in their own mind what their own marketing machine looks like, right? And they're like, heck no, are we going to spend 7% of this in the marketing when I don't even know if 17 likes on a post is going into my like all that social proof, right? There's no tracking, no data. When you architect it and look at it, if you're trying to get the company to spend 7 to 14% of their overall gross on marketing, you better be able to build those trackable things inside the company. And that's really what the journey is that you've embarked on, is building all of those systems inside of Liquivida that allow you to spend trackable, measurable dollars. So your marketing spends they're all advised. You're not spending on the hot air balloon that you're not sure is netting you an ROI. Every single thing you spend marketing dollars on in the Liquivida portfolio of ad spend is tracked.
Right. What would you say those CEOs that get a little bit worrisome when you give them those numbers is because they don't feel confident that they have a well-oiled marketing machine,
the Ferrari
because for me it's like, if I have a well-oiled marketing machine and it's producing results and I can go ahead and measure that via data, there is absolutely no cap to how much I'm going to spend into marketing. I'm going to dump more money into it.
Throttle up every time,
right?
That's And if you can show every CEO the ROI calc, which is that's what our and Dario and I, we jam on these metrics all day long, and we kind of say it so quickly, but ROAS is a return on ad spend. It's an actual ad metric we track inside of your machines that tells us that if you spent $10 on something, you made back 19. And if I show you that as a CEO, you'll dump more money into that every time.
Right.
So when we come into a company, we build those trackable systems that you should get to the point of spending 7 to 14% of your overall gross on those systems. If you can't bring yourself to that, when I say that, and that hurts to hear, and you're like, "Ooh, we're at 2%," or we're at, we do some pretty big brands, and when I survey like Kellogg's, we do Kellogg's, and when I survey them what their marketing spend is, and you find out why they're not spending 7% yet, it's because they're spending. Well, we spend money on the backyard barbecue at the TV station, or we put it in the newspaper, or Jimmy had a hot air balloon benefit that we put, and or Sally wanted to go to the conference over in Arizona, so we went out to the conference. And you do all these things as marketers that are untrackable, traditional, warm and fuzzy.
There's
things.
a lot of that, a lot of brand awareness stuff.
A lot of warm and like the softball. I can imagine all the community things you're doing. I know, right? That don't.
Which you have to. You still have to do it.
Right?
But Chris, so one of the things that I will say is producing great quantifiable data is not the easiest thing, especially with all kinds of different digital platforms that you have, right? And I think Dario here can attest to that. And Dario, I want you to kind of explain, because it's easy to say, hey, we have to have data. We have to know what our cost per lead, our conversion rates, and everything else. But then you have all of these different platforms you're using. You got the CRM, you got Facebook, and you got to tie into the backend API. Then you have your POS system, your EMR, artificial intelligence program. It's just like, your head's just going crazy, and nothing's tying in. You got a third-party call center that's calling the leads. They're producing their data. Their data doesn't match up to ours. So, and I know, Dario, based off of your experience and doing this for many years, working with CRM systems and everything else, it's a process. So I kind of want you to talk a little bit about the process of producing good data and some of the tools that you have to have in place and get those things structured, so you do have good data that you can go ahead and make a true educated decision on how you're spending your money.
Yeah. So I think that the first step here is something that I don't hear many companies asking themselves. So it's like, in order to have good data, you need to first know what are you measuring and why are you doing that. Because good data could be considered for some people something that is accurate. It's like a phone number, let's say. And you could have a criteria for that. And it's like, okay, it's going to have 10 digits. It can only be numbers. That's it. And I will use that as a rule. I was like, okay. But then someone inputs a number in a form or whatever, which starts with 000-555, whatever. And it's like, it works because it's a rule. It will be accurate data or good data if we go by that filter of digits and the numbers of of digits that we have there. But then it's like, is that valuable? Is that a number that I can actually call to offer something? Is that a platform that I can use to plug into some other system to get something done?
Right.
To get the call center to call and move the deal to some other place. It's like, okay, maybe that's not the case for that. So, starting with what data am I even going to capture? How am I going to make sure that it's accurate? That's like the starting point, having that clear picture. It could be one data point. It could be 10. Who knows? And then when you have that, you can start planning and saying like, okay, in the media mix, what I want is to maybe use social media, because maybe that's when I have the phone numbers. Or maybe what I could use is the hot balloon, because maybe, I don't know, they live around that area and I want to just communicate a message.
And it has the phone number on there that
and
you can measure.
Something.
Right.
Or, little things like after COVID, that's one of the things that I found was like kind of interesting. Before COVID, we already had QR codes. But they weren't like...
They weren't used.
They weren't used
like at all.
Until you had to get to your food.
Exactly. It was like
Exactly.
super weird. And then,
restaurants.
after COVID, it became like the default for a
Yes.
lot of things.
Right.
And then people starting putting those codes even in printed ads so you could get some data. Because yeah, a publication can tell you like, yeah, we can reach 10,000 people in this area. We print out this many magazines, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool. I see potential there. Even with TV, they can tell you like, yeah, our audience is like, I don't know, 1 million people, and we have this rating and blah blah. It's like, okay, but how do I measure my exposure? It's like you're giving me an average. You're not giving me an actual conversion. It's like, I
Right.
don't know, out of that single impression, like what was the benefit for my business
Right.
besides being exposed to them. So once you start connecting those tools, at least with a QR code, maybe you get 1 million views and you get only 10 subscriptions. But at least having those 10 will give you more context, and you'll be able to
Right.
see, okay, I got 10 phone numbers. Out of those 10, 5 were good phone numbers, and I called them, and maybe I closed 3 deals or whatever. And at least that 3 compared to 1 million will give you a conversion rate and will give you ideas of, maybe this is not my audience. Maybe I need to increase the number of impressions. Maybe I need to, switch the whole thing. And that's how you start tweaking the whole thing.
Right.
So you start by asking why do I need this data? What's the data that I need? How do I make sure it's accurate? What are the rules?
Right.
And then you start experimenting, because there are like too many tools out there. So probably you will start with, where you what with the normal ones where you can see like a quick benefit to some extent.
Okay.
So you will start with social media, maybe with search, with video, things like that, because they are like better than just all TV or radio ads and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then you have to tweak it, because if
Yeah.
you just pick one platform,
No,
that's not
right.
gonna work.
And you know what? I like what you said is like, even if you got 1 million views and you got 3 people that subscribe,
Mhm.
right? That where they hit the QR code or whatever. Now you have 3 people that you could actually now study those 3 people and
Mhm.
see what kind of people are these, where we could potentially target similar people that might have the same behavior.
That's the piece right there, Sam.
Right.
And like you said, everyone has big data. First of all, what do we want to accomplish with the data, and then what is the data we're looking at? But what you just said right there, the retargeting of looking at a small finite amount of people that have done something. So like for us, a lot of campaigns we do is video views. Like we talked about this earlier, where if I can tell that 5 people sat and watched my video all the way throughout the entire video, I want to put them in another campaign to retarget them. Well, that's called warm zero party data. When you hear the term what's zero party data? Zero party data is something that belongs to me, that I should have the right to as a business owner. It's zero party. Well, what is zero party? Well, I don't know. As a business owner, I paid money to do a video view objective ad, put it in front of them, and now I can make a watch group of everyone that watched that video 75% of the way. And if I can
Oh.
then take that watch group audience of 5 people and spend the money on conversions at the bottom of the funnel on just those 5 people, instead of the 100,000 or 1 million we reached at the top of the funnel, your conversions will be lower priced, and you'll have more of them. And if you make a lookalike off your conversions, that's where the data gets really creepy, right? Because there's a handoff that Dario and I have where, and every company should do this. I mean, you may think it's NASA, but take your customer list and make a lookalike audience of it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it sounds like
That's important.
some pretty Men in Black stuff right now today, but we've been doing this as data guys for 4 or 5 years now, making lookalike audiences of every single person that walked through your door. So that, I think what Dario hinted to on the top end is, yeah, you can put it in front of 1 million people, but what are the conversions out of those 1 million people? One of my mentors, Steve Zuckerman, said it well. Yeah, okay, great. You got 25 likes and 6 comments. How much money's in the cash register from the end? So I learned that social proof is great. Awareness and likes and comments and shares are all great, but the data folks want to track conversions into the cash register.
Yeah.
And the data is what allows you to get those conversions cheaper. Because if I can take the top of funnel of all the people that liked something. Just talk a warm audience real quick. What is a warm audience? When Dario and I build a campaign together, we take all the folks that have engaged with our Instagram, Liquivida Instagram, in the last 365 days, we put them in a warm audience. That's now our warm audience.
And you're gonna feed them some content.
And we're not gonna feed them the same video that put them in that warm audience that they sat and watched 75% of the way. We're gonna feed them more progressive content. And I think that's how you truly build a good funnel. You show them something up top, get their attention, watch group, and then mid-funnel, the trick to all mid-funnel is, and Dario, you and I just went through this today. We're in mid-funnel where we're dropping out of the cash register ready to spend on these services because we're feeling it. And if you put a camera in front of me right now while I'm feeling that drip in that chair that I'm talking about bringing this stuff up to Rock Lidditz right now in the backstage of the world because every drummer needs to sit in this chair I was just in. But if you put a camera in front of that, that's mid-funnel. What do you okay, so someone sits for a video 75% of the way. What do you show them next? You show them the human going, holy wow, or doing as humans, we copy each other. So that's the mid-funnel campaign that you get the conversion with.
And that's what people are like, I want that. You know, I want that.
You get it.
So Chris, with what you do on the digital side with like social media and stuff, from a scale 1 to 10, 10 being most important, for an organization to have a digital marketing manager like someone like Dario, how important is that for someone like you? Or how easy does that make your job to be able to produce what you need for your client like Liquivida?
Yeah. As we sit here together, like with Grasshopper and Coach together, if you will, when it comes to content and the stuff I've been pushing you to do, right? And now you're going to be pushing me to do sit-ups and eat salad. So this is great. But we laugh, but a guy like you that has spent the money on content and marketing and the systems and CRM, and maybe you wasted a lot of money on this platform and maybe you blew a lot of money here, but you learned, and the next year you figured out and retooled. You start to see, and you know it, or there wouldn't be. How many cameras are in this room right now? Just have a moment for me.
You got 4 plus the one on your phone, maybe.
I haven't had time to count how many cameras are in this room right now. But I know you're a smart businessman, and I know you're not really into cameras so much. You like BMWs and watches and so forth. So the cameras that are around us, when you ask what's the most important thing in an organization, I don't care what you're selling. I don't care how private you are or your clientele is, the content becomes the currency that your business starts running off of. And when you start making it 5 to 7 pieces of content a day on 3 to 5, I say 3 to 4, I go easy, 3 to 5 platforms now. Like, do you even stitch, bro? Like I've been saying that in my conferences, like, are you good at TikTok? We all can post something there because we just put it on LinkedIn and Instagram, and now it's in my phone, and I'm going to put it over on. That's brilliant. But do you know the platform and culture of that piece? It's not always just about the paid advertising. All of the doctors and in the wellness and even the front of the house folks we all have phones on us. Capturing that content in real time and building an organic diet and habit, a strategic organic content approach on the front end, you see it. Yeah. So I turn it back to you, not to answer a question with a question, but when you can start to see a guy like yourself activate and realize that content is king and queen is marketing. When you have a company that is based off of truly helping people, and it's not hocus pocus, but if I could just get a camera in front of them when they see the results, it's the same thing as Mercedes-Benz.
It's the content is the fuel to the machine.
100%.
You can't have a Ferrari with no fuel.
100%.
You know, it's going to look pretty. It's going to sit in the parking lot. But once you put that good fuel in it, right, now it's going to go. It's going to go.
Let's talk about how sensitive, I relate you guys to Mercedes-Benz a lot, because telling the guy when he's getting ready to put Miss Johnson in the $200,000 G-Wagon that he's got to get a picture of her, or can you get a quick video of her real quick? Can we go live? Imagine telling that to the kid that's going to get this commission on the sale. There's no time for pictures or content. Same thing in health and wellness. It's a very private thing. You have to have couth.
Yeah.
What I just witnessed, and I'm a content junkie, right? And I'm a producer and I won't bore you with all of that. I look at all of that. How is it set up? You guys are able to get that content in a couthy way from the client while they're in your office. And I implore and encourage everybody to start thinking about it. Even the chiropractors or whatever you're doing, that is, it's always been a HIPAA type of, taboo thing to have a camera in the area where you're doing it. That's the currency that drives your marketing in your business, is watching the
Right.
human react to it. Because they have I'm still having suspended disbelief right now. Imagine, I'm the marketer. I'm telling everybody, go buy this stuff. And I haven't even tried it yet. And
Right.
now I've tried it, and I'm on a whole nother level of suspended disbelief where I'm over earmuffs to all the folks buying advertising. I'm over here going, listen, just take a picture of everybody that walks out of the place and put that up on a thing, and there's your marketing for the day. And that's the customer delivery program we built for Mercedes-Benz, is the same thing. Just take a picture of the person when they're in the S550. They're the happiest. Just like I don't know if you could tell, but and you know me, I get food aggressive every 2 hours. I'm like a lion. I just want to get out of here. And right now I'm happy as pie. Like
I'll tell you, and this is such helpful information for the doctors that are listening that are trying to grow their businesses, right? Speaking of that, as you guys know, and I have a copy of this for all of you guys, new book that just dropped, How to Win in Modern Wellness. It's my new book, which has a lot of the different leaders in the industry that are competing against Liquivida. What I've done is I built some very strong relationships in the last 10 years and gave them all chapters of my book. And we're all talking about how we're winning together. So one of the things I'd love to do, which we will be doing, is obviously marketing the book to get it out there. So people that are trying to get into the health and wellness space, or people that are trying to grow their clinics, they're going to be able to take this book, read it, and understand how all of the leaders have done it from day one.
It's the roadmap
So
right here.
I have a book for each of you. You have yours
Thank you.
there, Dario. That's yours. I'll sign it for you
I
guys.
gotta get it autographed.
So
Come
of
on, let's go,
course,
please.
100%. Now the trick is to get it autographed by everyone
Everybody.
who's in there.
So where do these guys reside at? Where do they hang
A
out?
lot of them
Where
are
can I
here in
get there?
South Florida.
Okay, so
But
South Florida.
we
all right.
will be at the IV Biz Bash. I will be speaking on stage alongside with people like Kevin Harrington, original Shark from Shark
Very
Tank,
cool.
Gary Brecka from 10X Health Systems. We'll all be on stage talking. We'll be on the panel. So a lot of the guys that are in the book will be there. We'll be signing.
I have one question. Is Corey Jacobs going to be there?
He will be there.
All right,
So,
all right.
Obviously
Take
Corey
my credit
Jacobs,
card right now.
he is
Let's
the
go.
last chapter of the book. He is the one who basically defines what the book is through Winergy, which Winergy, that movement is talking about all of us winning together, right? Because there's enough meat on the bones for all of us to win. So now, talking about marketing that book on social media and everything else. Are you guys ready for that?
So there's a trick to this, and in the music and entertainment industry, we take books to the New York Times top seller list and Amazon bestseller list, and there's an absolute conversion trick to this. And I'm going to say it real quick, and if you want, you could rewind it later and back it up. But when you release a book, the first 48 hours is the most important time of any book's life. If you didn't do it in the first 48 hours of this book, that's okay. We can re-release this digitally, and there's other things we could do in the publishing to make it a fresh release. But it becomes super important in the first 48 hours of releasing your book that you sell at least 5,000 copies on Amazon. So when you think of the conversion machines that we build and how much money, and we can pretty much get people to make a purchase no matter how much we want to put into the ad machine. If the goal and the objective is to sell 5,000 copies, why? Well, if I sell 5,000 copies, Bezos has this machine that looks very much like the Nielsen SoundScan machine in the music industry. And when a copy, and do you remember how Amazon started? People from Australia will cheer for me right now.
School books.
Yeah, books.
Right.
Still in Australia, when I tell my friends from Australia you could buy like paper towels and like milk on Amazon, they're dumbfounded. They're scratching their heads, right? Because they have territories. You can't do Prime really in Amazon too well. So they're loving it, which by the way, Amazon is still a very good buy for all the stock junkies out there, even as with how much it is, because people haven't experienced the true value of it. But my point is, Bezos has a computer that New York Times has based their barometers off of, and every other publishing after that. And when the book sells 5,000 copies in the first 48 hours, you immediately go to the Amazon bestsellers list.
Nice.
When you go to the Amazon bestsellers list, the humans at all the other platforms go, oh, okay, there we go. There's our bestseller. There it is. Ding. So the goal to anyone releasing a book in the first 48 hours, and there's ways that even though the book sits in front of us and we released it and so forth, there's ways just through conversion campaigns on the back of Ads Manager.
Ebooks too.
Ebooks count. That's a unit. Ebook, absolutely, Sam. Ebook is a very real thing. And if you can push 5,000 in the first 48 hours, the robot's ears go up, and then you're now on the Amazon bestseller list and New York Times bestseller list. That's one
awesome.
little trick, and that all that involves is knowing how to launch conversion campaigns on the back of Facebook, Instagram, and display. Those 3 places.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome. Awesome.
So
Good to
I believe
know.
the value, and you're the same way. The value that comes out of your mouth should be better than the stuff you're selling, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So
Awesome. Awesome. So before we end here, I want to ask you guys to leave the listeners and viewers with, if you have to just let them know one thing about starting their marketing journey or enhancing the marketing journey, what is it? Dario, I'll have you start off with that.
I will start with, I think you need to train yourself first before you start going out there and putting the money and investing it. You need to spend
That's good.
in your own knowledge and in your own mind, so you can have a better understanding, like what is a conversion, what is a KPI, what is an API, you know.
Yes.
Do I have a website that I own? Am I going to track the conversions where? In an app? Is it going to be listed if it's a book, if it's in the Amazon store? You know, because you're gonna need all those concepts. And you know that's that happened to you. You had to learn. I
Yeah.
mean, you came from a background of, you know, being a paramedic and all of that. It's like, why would a paramedic ended up
Know about
you know,
marketing
It's
and
like no marketing
systems
whatsoever.
and processes, right?
But it's like if you're starting and if you're a man of science, like a doctor, it's like, okay, I know how to, you know, cure disease and, you know, see different patterns and things like that. So you have already some of that knowledge, because numbers are numbers and they work basically in the same way anywhere in the world. So I will start with preparation, like, you know, absorb all the knowledge, get in touch with that part. And that way you'll get a lot more out of your money, because you will be speaking the same language. You'll know when you partner up with an agency, you will be seeing, you know, eye to eye with that person, and you'll be able to tell, like, yeah, I don't believe what you're saying. I read this
Yes.
thing about this thing.
Right.
So,
You'd be
you
able to
know,
call BS on an 8. All marketing is hocus pocus.
Yeah.
God help the business owners all day long, all week, that have to sit through the knock on the door and the pitch from the newspaper to the TV. To
It happens all the time.
Right?
You
I'm
need, I always say
sorry.
you
Yeah, I'm
need to
sorry.
know enough to be dangerous, not to actually be boots on the ground and do the work. You need to know enough to be dangerous and for you not to get taken advantage of. And also, when you start developing your own team in-house, you have to be able to inspect what you expect. And if you don't have that base knowledge, how are you going to do that? How are you going to be able to be a mentor and coach people if you don't even know the basis of it? So I agree with you. That is actually,
Agreed.
it's so
Yeah.
important. It's extremely. it's probably one of the most important things.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. What about you, Chris? What is that one thing?
Yes.
You can't take his though.
I know that.
So
that's
even
a
if that was
great
number
That's- I
one,
don't know
you
where
can't
to go
take
after
it.
that one, honestly. But the big, and you know, you're gonna be like, oh, here he goes with the when's the last time you went live thing. But as a founder of a company, I call bullshit on any marketing you're gonna try to do to me. Imagine that we do Porsche marketing as well. We do a lot of the top automotive brands. They talk about how the person buying a Porsche, you better have your marketing together before you try and sell to them, because they bought everything in the sun. They bought the house for their kids, their wife, their college is paid for. They've been through every marketing pitch
Right.
under the sun. And the only thing I believe today, as a founder, as an owner, as a VP, as a whatever you want to call a top of the company, has seen all the marketing, is behind the scenes footage of the founder and the owner. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of what you're doing. I'm a big fan of one of our clients, Sammy Hagar. I tell him, when's the last time you went live? Go. You want us to sell your tequila? We do Santo tequila. We market that for him. If we really want to sell some bottles of that, go live this morning at your breakfast bar with your sleepers in your eyes. That's what I want to see, because I believe that as a consumer, the trust signals. So the advice would be, 10 years ago, they never had a thing where I can go live on a thing. I don't care what your thing is, but I can go live on it. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Wherever you jam. 10 years ago, I couldn't. Try going down to the news channel 10 years ago and saying, give me the mic and the camera and go live for me, okay? And then make it for free. And so these tools are right here. So to every owner and founder, I encourage you to go live. Do it as many times as your own mind will let you, but just go live. What do you show? I don't care. Figure it out. But the trust signals of whatever you show are going to build more for your brand and get more people to convert and go into your brand. When I see the Winergy stuff and the stuff you and Corey are doing behind the scenes, I'm lit up. I mean, I know I'm marketing it and stuff too, but that's the genuine stuff. That's the brotherhood, the culture that I want to subscribe and belong to.
Yeah.
And so when I see that, that's genuine. When you go live from the front seat of your vehicle, we talked about that time when we had that coach up, show them what I see when I'm on the phone with you, because I'm getting ready to buy whatever because I trust you. That, and the trust signals are when we go live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. When I go live, I believe that because I grew up, the dad putting his lunch at the dinner table, nobody talked through the 6 o'clock news. And when Peter Jennings came on that thing and interrupted your regular scheduled program with a live message, it was the Bible, right?
Yeah,
and then as business owners, we can all do that today. It's free. So get off, and go live.
Go live. And trust me, Chris tells me that like he almost wants
I'm
to.
tired of hearing it. I know, I'm sorry.
So, Chris, pleasure. Dario, pleasure
Thank you.
to have you guys here. If any of our viewers and listeners want to find and learn more about you, how can they get a hold of you, Chris? How can they find you?
Type in MediaTwist. Just put in MediaTwist in the old Google. That's interesting. They say 70% of our memory is stored in Google. So just go there and type in MediaTwist.
And Dario, for you?
Well, first, liquivida.com.
Right.
But if you want a personal one, it will be Gato Dario.
There you go.
That's
Gato
how you find
Dario.
it. Yeah.
Gato Dario.
Thanks for bringing. I know all of your team is global. You're a global operator, fan, and you're building that whole culture. So the fact that I finally get to jam face to face,
Meet the guy behind the scenes.
We've been working so hard.
This
over
is actually the
past
first
couple
time
months,
we're all meeting face to face.
Yeah,
you know,
is great. Thank
so
you.
this is
Truly,
fantastic.
from the bottom of
Yeah.
my heart, everything you guys have done, band with the crew, Melanie, Ricardo, Jessica, Blake, everybody. Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Pleasure, and that's it. It's a wrap.
All right.